Hello everyone, I am Alka193 and welcome to this video. It's time for Pleiades Tournament number 2, and I'm here to introduce you to the cards we will be using. If you're unfamiliar with this, I have a Discord server in which I have tournaments, regular ones, where we have limited card pulls. A very limited amount of main sets, potentially a starter or structure deck, one or two side sets, and that's it, and people have to make their deck with that. Last time we had 6 participants, this time we have 8, we're still growing. I already know because it just started as I'm recording this. Tournament 3 will have even more participants, and the server's just growing and it's really exciting having these people in here. Now, what cards will we be using in Tournament 1? Last time, like Volcanics, Gigas, those were the big archetypes, the big deck types. Let's see what we can do in this one. The first main set we have is Metal Raiders. A pretty old set, and therefore you could say a lot of cards that aren't really all that useful. Maybe you want to use a Summon Skull if you have a normal monster strategy, because the 2500 attack is pretty nice, but that's not really expected. Cocoon of Evolution for 2000 defense, but that's really all it can do. There's a lot of cards that aren't really useful. However, it does have Tribute to the Doomed. It has Change of Heart, but that's forbidden, so you can't use that. But early sets have a lot of good cards like Mirror Force, like Sword of Revealing Light, but maybe like Mystical Space Dive. A lot of very strong spells and traps are in the very early sets. Now, a good amount of them are forbidden now, or limited, but there's still a lot of good ones in there. Solemn Judgment is in this tournament, and that was recently made unlimited in the TCG. Therefore, it would have normally been like that. But this tournament, I could already say, will have the first time that Forbidden Limited is altered. Normally we take the standard TCG Forbidden Limited for this tournament, but if we feel certain cards are too strong in a format before the tournament starts, which we have to guess somewhat, we can make that thing semi-limited, limited, or even forbidden, and we decided to take Solemn Judgment from unlimited to limited, because we felt, especially if you're going first with that, it's too strong in stopping opponents' plays. There's Magic Jammer and 7 Tools of the Bandit to stop spells and traps. There's Mirror Force. Heavy Storm is forbidden, so you can't really use that, but Mirror Force is destroy monsters, spell trap stoppers, or Solemn Judgment. So in that sense, Metal Raiders does give you some nice things. Then Tactical Evolution is next. We have 2 main sets. We had Metal Raiders just now. Tactical Evolution is our other one. I really like the art, by the way, on this set. I think it's one of my favorite ones. Rainbow Dragon with the light blue background. So normal ones, some Gemini stuff in here. Rainbow Dragon is in there, but the Crystal Beasts are not, so you can't really make use of it. Someone could use Venom if they would like. There's some Venom cards in there. A lot of Gemini stuff, which means the normal monster support could work, but Gemini support could as well. Maybe someone will be using that. And there's some fusions in here that you can't really summon because, well, there's no. Do we even have Elementor, Sparkman, and Necro Shade? And some of these cards, unfortunately, are unusable. There are a lot of interesting ones here. Summoner's Art. If you want to play normal monster deck. Creature Seizure, I believe, is a normal monster card. Same for Symbols of Duty, or is that Amulet of Ambition? I don't remember the exact deals of all of them, but there's quite a lot of normal monster support. Phalanx Spike could be an interesting one for an attack increase. There's a Common Charity, that's normal monster support. A couple of attack increasing things, like Shield Spirit and Strike, Slash. I don't think Gift Guard and the Gift of Greed will be used that much. Counter. We have Solemn Judgment, although limited. We have Solemn Judgment, we have Magic Gem, we have 7 Tools of the Bandit. So counter could be a nice counter to the counter traps. And then some more Gemini cards here. But to me, I don't really see a very clear, this is going to be my main deck in this. Although normal, I think the first thing I did consider was using normal monsters. By the way, you will find out what deck I chose out of all these sets at the start of the next video, because the start of the next video will be my round 1 match of the tournament, and at the very start of that video I will show you the deck I'm using. Now we have one starter or structure deck, and it is Starter Deck Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, which means we're going to get Synchros. We have Tuners and Toon Warrior, we have Water Spirit, Junk Synchron, Magna Dragon, Frequency Magician. We have quite a few tuner monsters, and then we have a few synchro options as well. Exiled Force can help destroy a monster. Voting Captain can help put stuff on the field. Copycat can just copy an opponent's attack if that is really strong. UFO Turtle, Mystic Tomato can just help summon another monster or just keep consistency by summoning themselves. If you're running Synchros and Synchro Blast Wave, can help destroy. There's Smashing Ground. There's Lightning Vortex also to destroy. Rush Recklessly to alter how a battle, who wins a certain battle by changing the attack. This, when I saw it, I thought was one of the gems. Double Summon, because I learned from Tournament 1, and I discussed this in a recent video in the retrospective, consistency is key, and my Chaos deck from Tournament 1 wasn't very consistent. And I thought that Double Summon would allow me to get a second summon out in the field. Not only could that give me some more offensive pressure, it could also help set me up for Synchros, and therefore be more consistent. So, I can already tell you I will be using 3 copies of Double Summon in my deck. Threatening Order to stop some attacks. Trap Iron Scarecrow stops an attack and then goes back. So unless the opponent has spell or trap destruction, Solemn Judgment or 7 Tools of the Bandit, this is really hard to deal with. And I can say there isn't very much spell and trap destruction whatsoever, at least not consistent ones. So Scrap Iron Scarecrow is another card that some people found out is very, very useful. You could use Trap Hole, you could use Miniaturize to change some levels, but also to make opponents lose attacks, so just like with Rush Recklessly, it can help alter the course of a battle. Divine Wrath, we have Spell Stoppers and Magic Damage. Trap Stoppers in 7 Tools. Divine Wrath, Effect Stoppers. More 7 Tools, although that doesn't mean you're suddenly allowed to have 6 of them. Sakura Armor to stop traps, to stop attacks, but we already have Mirror Force, so I don't think a lot of people will use Sakuretsu. Birthright helps with the normal monster things, with the Geminis, maybe with the Summon Skull that I mentioned earlier. And here's some Synchro options. Junk Warrior can only be summoned with Junk Synchro, and that's a tuner. So I don't expect this monster to be used that much. But Gaia Knight, a nice strong level 6, and then Colossal Fighter as a strong level 8 will be used. Now Colossal Fighter did get an errata, and even though we're using starter deck 5Ds, we're always using the latest errata of a card, just like in the standard TCG. So we do have the latest errata for Colossal Fighter. Now that was our only starter deck. We have 2 subsets still to go. One of them being Duelist Pack Jade and Yuki. So we will be getting elemental heroes in this tournament, in this set. We have Avian, Brushendrix, Clayman, and Sparkman. Rottweiler. We have Polymerization, and we have Flame Wingman, Thunder Giant, Rampart Blaster, Steam Healer. So here's a deck type that you might want to use right here. Heroes. The question is, how consistent will they be, and with the Normons not having effects, and besides Clayman not really having that much standout stats, maybe Sparkman 1600 is decent. I'm not sure how consistent they will be, but if you can somehow gather the cards and combos together and get the fusions out consistently, then they, alongside their effects, especially Thunder Giant's destruction effect, could be real nice for you. Some other specific E-Hero cards, Burst Return, Spark Blaster, I don't think they'll be used much. Hero Signal, though, if any monster is destroyed, you can special summon a level 4 or lower hero from your deck. And that can help bring out one of these heroes, maybe you already have the other, and then fusion into them. So that could work out in your favor. Negate attacks to stop some attacks. Draining Shields to negate just one attack, but you do gain life points for it. Skyscraper is also in this, so if you decide to run a hero deck, Skyscraper can help your heroes overcome stronger monsters in battle. One more subset. Hidden Arsenal 6 Omega XEs. I decided to not just include Synchros, but also XCs cards, and with this come a few more potential deck types. We have a Gemini Crystal, we also have some Laval cards you'll see a bit more later. There's some Phylons, there's Gusto, there's Steel Swarm, there's Gishki. Here's some Gemini things. There's no Gemini Fusion, but we have Polymerization from Duelist Pack Jade and Yuki, so that way you could still play Gemini. And I believe there's a Pyroxine Fusion as well. So that's an option you could play. Violent Alpha, Violent Omega, very nice. Violent Alpha, although it has 2200 attack, this card, I think, because there's quite a lot of monster destruction in terms of Sacred's Armor, Mirror Force, Violent Alpha I thought was a very strong card. It might be hard to pull off because you have to have a Violent Tuner and one or more non-tuners, and it's a level 9, so that might be a bit hard to summon. But if you can pull off an Alpha, that can be really powerful. Here's more Gem Knights to help out, some more Lavals. Gustos, a lot more options. And here's the game. There's some Xyzes in Gemini Pearl. I remember earlier I talked about double summon and consistency. Any two level 4s that you can bring out on the field alongside, thanks to double summon, can become a Gemini Pearl, therefore 2600 attack, which is really nice. There's some other cards you could use depending on the levels of monsters that you have in your deck. The Sigma may be able to get rid of an opponent's monster. But I think Gemini Pearl, just that being in there, might be really nice already. Now those were the main sets, the starter deck and the subset, but that's not everything, because this tournament does have one other new thing. And don't get scared, it's custom cards. It's not any custom cards that is randomly picked from something. I don't let the, others pick. As you may have seen in earlier videos, I create quite a lot of custom cards. And I do plan to have a video soon where I go over everything I've created so far to show them off. But I decided that for quite a few of the tournaments, maybe most of them, we'll see when we get to those tournaments, I will take some of the custom cards that I've already created, so I don't make them specifically for the tournament, but ones that I've already created that I feel would fit in with the tournament, or maybe would just help that strategy that isn't very good become slightly better or slightly more consistent. And the very first of the 3 custom cards, because there's 3 custom cards, is exactly one of such cards. And I will say, because I've created them myself, I feel none of them are super overpowered. They're not play this and you win, or inflict 6,000 effect damage to your opponent when this card is destroyed. That's overpowered. And sure, some of the cards will be stronger than others, but I do try to always keep them balanced. And even if people feel that they're too strong, there is always that option to put them on the Forbidden Limit list for the tournament. First card, Elemental Hero Ranger. It's a card I created a little while before the tournament, and this card was meant to help the consistency of the hero deck. So mostly cards from starter deck Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D. No, not 5Ds. What am I talking? Duelist back Jade and Yuki, because those have the E-heroes. Ranger was created to help the normal monster fusions. Sure, they can certainly help with things like your Absolute Zero, your Escarida, or the Shining if you're using the element fusions. But Ranger, I created this with specifically in mind the original normal monsters like Sparkman, like Burstinatrix, and the fusions with that. Not knowing at the time that I would have them in a tournament. So I decided to put in Ranger when it's summoned, so that's also special summon and flip summon. You can add up to 2 element hero normal monsters from your deck to your hand. So that can be 2 Sparkmans or an Avion and a Burstinatrix, getting them ready to fusion to Flame Wingman the next turn. Also, when it's sent from field to grave, you can get an element hero normal monster that is banished over in your grave and add it back to the hand. Ranger Hero Signal. That is something few people caught on to. When it's summoned, including special summon, and the ruling, because considering the custom card, people could ask me about rulings of it. This can activate in the damage step when it is summoned through something like Hero Signal. So you can destroy, if any of your monsters destroy the Hero Signal into this, you get 2 normal elemental heroes. That's consistency, and a few people caught on to that. Second card, Baby Jellyfish. Now, if you look at this card, you might be like, why is this even in here? Why is this consistent? It's not. But I had this custom card, and if we look back at Metal Raiders, then somewhere in here is the original jellyfish. And I basically only made this baby jellyfish because when I had the artwork first, and I thought, like, I'll just create a baby jellyfish because it looks like baby jellyfish, so I made it just half of the original jellyfish. And this is what it is. So I think what I should have done now is, like, when it's normal summoned and you control another baby jellyfish or jellyfish, you can summon another one to make it a bit more consistent. It's still not a great card whatsoever, but considering Jellyfish was available in the tournament, I thought I'll throw in Baby Jellyfish. I didn't expect a lot of people to use it. One person did. One person did have Baby Jellyfish and Jellyfish in their deck, so you might see that in the tournament. But that is one of the cards. Now the third card isn't really a new card, but it is a custom art that I have for an already existing card in the tournament, Polymerization. Because Polymerization has had 2 arts. This is one that we've had for the longest time. This is Polymerization. And I gave the option to use this polymerization as well. Now, because this is a custom card, it would be possible in deck creation to have 3 of the original polymerization and 3 of the custom polymerization. Those aren't stopped by the deck constructor. However, I did make it clear in the rules you can only have up to 3 of both of them combined because they are the same card. So some people, there'll be multiple people with polymerization in their deck. You'll be seeing that. Some use the old one, some use this custom one. So that will be all that is available for Tournament 2. Let me know in the comments what you think will be my deck. Will I be using the normal monster strategy that I spoke of with things like the Geminis and Summon Skull? Will I go for the Venom strategy? Will I go for a bunch of Synchros? Will I take the hero deck? Will I take Phylons, Lavels, Steel Swarm? Will I take a combination? Because a lot of people last tournament took a combination because there's not enough cards to make a deck with just Steel Swarm or just Gem Knight or anything like that. If so, what do I combine? What do you think? Please let me know in the comments, and you'll be seeing probably tomorrow what I have come up with. And you'll be seeing my round 1 match as well. See you then. Goodbye.